Welcome to Savvy Business, Life Unscripted, with your host, Christina Rivera, where our guests share their wisdom and valuable business tips, empowering our audience to expand their personal potential.
Rogelio Rodriguez, welcome to Savvy Broadcasting Life Unscripted. We're so grateful to have you here today. You're from Go Rizen, and you're going to share with our audience the secret sales strategies, create more loyal clients for your life. That's the book you wrote, correct?
It's not a book. It's just a series of blog posts that we put together as a team. Yeah. I mean, eventually it will be a book.
You know, it should be, because when I first heard, I was like, this has got to be a book somewhere. And, you know, it's funny. I had written a blog a million years ago called 101 Mistakes and What I Learned in Business. And people are like, where do I get that book? I'm like, it's not. It's a blog. Now it's a book. But yeah, so hopefully that book is on the to come. But what brought you into the whole world of sales and entrepreneurship to begin with?
Yeah, no, a lot of things. I think since I was like very young, I had like two dreams, right? I wanted to be G.I. Joe, and two, when I was little, I wanted to be rich, right? So when that was at least my concept, right, as a child. But I got to live my G.I. Joe dream. I joined the Marine Corps at 18. I deployed to Iraq. I met my business partner actually in the Marine Corps. So part of the Go Rizen team involves a fellow Marine that I've been working with now. I think like 20 years we've been working together, right? So, but one of the realizations that I came to in Iraq was like, well, I don't necessarily want to take orders for the rest of my life. I got to figure something out. Like, so came back from deployment and started just researching, what I needed to do. So the first things that I did was get a sales job. I became a loan officer for a bank. They taught me how to cold call, how to sell people using the telephone. And
can I stop you real quick? So loan officers, they sell? Because I thought loan officers, people can't wait to come in and just ask for loans. So they cold call for loans?
Yeah, so it was a subprime market at the time, right? So everybody was refinancing. Sometimes they were refinanced twice. It was a hot commodity. It was like the type of product, right? There were these like arm loans where like you would have like a low introductory rate for like 3, 4, 5 years, and then it would be based on the LIBOR later on. The actual interest would actually go up. So like it was lucrative for the lenders, but also very risky. And we all know what happened in 2008 really hurt a lot of people, right, with that whole situation.
Oh yeah.
But that was my introduction to sales, right? So part of that, the bank where I worked at, they would have us cold call 2 hours in the morning and 1 hour at night, every night.
Was it hard for you to get into that? I mean, I used to break into cold sweats when I first started doing that. How did that work?
It's not something I enjoyed in the beginning, right? It took a lot of work, a lot of mindset work to overcome the fear, and then also like have the tenacity to continue after being rejected, right? Because you're like the first call, you're probably going to get rejected, and the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth.
You're like, what the heck? Let's just call someone else.
Well,
and keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. At this point,
it's a numbers game, really. After a while.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And it, like at this point, it's been 20 years, so I'll call anybody. Just give me a phone number and I'll make a friend. Right. That's my mindset now.
Yeah.
At the time, it was hard. I mean, you're right. Cold sweats. I had fear. My stomach hurt. Like all these different thoughts come through your head but eventually, once you do it enough times, you get the hang of it, and you can call anybody.
And you know what? What I found, Rogelio, is that most of the people I called were very receiving, and unless you come across like I'm here to push, sell. But for my business, if I would do some kind of legwork and see, does your business kind of fit with what we're providing. And if I feel it does serve a purpose, I will reach out, say, hey, I found you on LinkedIn. I found that we are a really good connection, that we might be able to help you. Where are you at in your business? Is this something that could help you? And they'd be like, wow, you found us out of billions of, because they were small businesses we were working with. So they were actually a lot of the times really, really excited that we even reached out to them. Which
Yeah,
is not what people
absolutely.
expect, actually. Now, tell me,
Yeah.
when you were in the military, was there anything as a Marine that you were able to cross-translate as lessons learned there that you could apply to your sales career?
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably the biggest thing was just standard operating procedures,
Mhm.
right? Like, I think that was probably the biggest thing that I could apply to business. But I mean, there's so many other just elements like the leadership skills, the ability to teach other Marines, right, and be able to stand up in front of a group of people and present your training to people. I mean, that was critical to the growth of the business, and it's still critical today. I mean, I teach, I still teach because it's one of
Mhm.
my passions, and I picked up that passion in the Marine Corps, right?
Mm.
So
That's
I
awesome.
think I learned a lot there that translated to the business. I mean, probably so many things that I can't really. It'll take forever to talk about all the things that I got, but those were the biggest.
Now, when you went from the Marine Corps and then you started your sales position, you learned sales. What was the pivotal moment where you said, okay, I'm going to create my own sales company, Rizen Inbound? How did that work out for you and why did you create it?
Yeah, so it wasn't that easy of a transition. I was doing well, but then the market collapsed, and I called. I wasn't working with my partner at the time, right? He was doing his own thing. He was selling things on eBay. He was selling classic cars on eBay, and he had this idea about selling car parts, but he didn't have the time to allocate to sell the car parts. So, I went up to him and I'm like, "Hey, look, like the rug's getting pulled from under me right
Mm.
now. The market's going down. I need to figure something else out." And he's like, "Well, let's partner up. I'll front the money for the car parts. You figure out how to sell the parts on eBay."
Mm.
And then he taught me a few things about how the eBay search engines worked and all that.
Mhm.
And we were able to figure out that, like, if you combine certain keywords on the search engines on the eBay listing, right, the title of the listing, like the make, the year, the model of the car, the designation, cars come in like EX, ES, different like tiers of car level, luxury levels, right? You can
Mhm.
call them. I figured out that if you combine those keywords essentially on the title and then you list it a certain amount of times on eBay, that your listing would come up on the search results more than the competitors.
Mm.
And that was my introduction to SEO, like search engine optimization. So I actually switched over to like learning how to write sales copy for websites, and I learned, or another partner of ours like designed the listings themselves,
Mm.
and took that business to like 80,000 a month in sales. We did
Yeah.
we did pretty well, really fast. Sold that business to open up a debt settlement agency,
Mm.
and once again, used my internet marketing understanding at the time, which was eBay and search engines, to build up that business. Ended up selling that to one of the partners that helped us open it, to start the marketing agency. And I felt
Mm.
like marketing was my thing, right? I mean, sales is a great background for marketing, and I think like it just gave me like an extra tool in my set
Yeah.
that allowed me to be more successful, right? I understood the people side, the people interaction,
Mm.
before I learned the marketing side, which is like the copy and the words and
Mm.
and how people interact with other elements before they get to the sale.
Yeah, so
So
basically it's the messaging behind what you're presenting to the marketplace, and then the sale is actually just going out there and completing the transaction between customer and yourself.
exactly,
Mm.
exactly, very well
Yeah.
put. Yeah.
So share today, how does Risen Inbound help businesses or people out there? What does it look like? Do they just come on board and you look at their business? What does it look like from beginning A to all the way to Z?
Yeah, typically businesses engage with us when they're at a certain stage, right? They
Mhm.
they usually have a marketer. They're probably struggling a lot with lead generation. So the three big areas where we help customers and clients are the lead generation side, so acquiring people and contacts from their website. Client acquisition, which is that transition from converting that lead to an opportunity to a sale.
Mhm.
And the last one is client engagement, which is like if they do already have customers, we set up processes to engage with them so that then we can ask for referrals, ask for
Mhm.
reviews, it's really our service is really adapted to how the modern buyer interacts, right? Like before you used to go walk into a store and rely on the knowledge of the salesperson. Today, if the information is not online or on your phone, like people ignore you, or they tend to ignore the business. So we've adapted a lot of our processes to how people are currently buying and their buying behavior.
Wow. So through all of your experiences working with businesses and learning the trade yourself, what is like the one secret sauce that most people don't know in business as far as sales? Like, what are they not applying that they should be today?
Yeah, I think it's super simple. And for the most part, they're not listening to the market, not listening to the client, right? That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll make an assumption and we'll say, okay, this is going to work. And we put it out there and like, it only attracts like 10% of the people that we want. Right. But that's because we didn't take the time to research and learn about what their wants are and then frame our service or our product, as their solution. Right. So we gotta like make that effort to understand our clients before we put out content.
I like that you say that, because one of the first things I did, I went to financial consulting, did what I did in the accounts receivable arena in corporate and moved it to a consulting business. And I thought, well, I'll just train people how to go after and collect on past dues. I mean, I've been doing it for 25 years. I can pass on this knowledge. So I created a whole bunch of courses and put together events in New York City where people can come. And we got about 13 people showing up, but it wasn't bringing in the cash. And so finally I just started asking people who followed me and whatever, like, why y'all not interested in this? And they're like, we don't want to go and chase people. We want someone else to do it. Yeah. And then I realized, I'm putting out the wrong thing to the market, because they're not wanting to learn how to do it. It's like, I got enough on my plate. I don't need to learn to be a collector. I need someone else to do that. So I like that you mentioned that it's important to understand what are your clients' real pain and need, and maybe what you're presenting is not what they actually need.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've learned that lesson too. I mean, we did the same thing. Actually, like 2 years ago, we started a project for a knowledge, like a instructional product, informational product, and it bombed.
Yeah. So. I mean, that's how you learn. But hopefully listening to podcasts like this, you realize, okay, maybe check first, get a data point on where are the people who are following your clients, what do they most need today? And one of the things that I worked with a mentor, and one of the first things she said to me is, what is your pain point? When I started to work with her as a student to this mentor. And I said, well, I just want to be able to learn how to do biz, because I knew nothing about it when I got started. Yeah. And so, she asked me the important question, what is it you need in order to, so I can help you? But many people, as you said, they're just like, oh, look at the wow, bam, look at, my thing does all of this and that, and you're just going to love it. I'm like, no, but I don't need that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this has been great, but, the bigger part of it, you got the client, maybe, okay, you've gotten the handle of sales, you're starting to grow sales, but now here's the other part that a lot of businesses forget. How do we keep those customers? And you mentioned something very important on the whole sales process, that is building that loyal client that stays with you from beginning all the way to from whenever you decide not to do business anymore. And a lot of people forget that part. Like, they get the dotted line signed, they get the thing sold, and they're like, later. So what is some of your suggestions to creating that absolutely loyal customer for life?
Yeah, it's communication, oftentimes communication, right? Like being there when they need you at the time that they need any type of information. One of the best things that I've come across, or systems that I've come across, is there's a book called They Ask You Answer, right? It's Marcus Sheridan is the author, a fellow marketer, fellow salesperson as well. I admire him very much. And he breaks it down into this idea where you, as a marketer, as a salesperson, should attempt to answer every single question your customer may come up with or may have, and put those answers in a place where they're going to easily retrieve them.
Like an objection, objections you might come across in a particular
objections. Yeah, it could be an objection, or it could be like, I mean, for example, he had a pool business, right? So like he wrote all this content answering every single question that he can think of that a customer may ask. And what ended up happening with that is that like it became one of the top most searched pool websites in the world, because like people were actually typing into Google, hey, will a fiberglass pool fit in, in my backyard if it's on a hill, like something like that, right? He would answer those types of questions. So having that in mind, like communicating to your customer that, beyond that sale, there's more opportunity for them to learn from you, but also for you to learn from them, right? So one of the things that we like to do also in our system is request feedback, right? We use marketing automation to say immediately after the sale, hey, we'd like feedback. How did the sale go? What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it? On a scale from 1 to 10, would you recommend this to your friends or not, right?
Yeah. That
type of communication, that type of request for feedback, people often appreciate that you're asking their opinion, right? They feel like they're respected. Their highly sought after opinion is something that you can apply to your business. And even more so, like when you're able to, when they give you a feedback and you make the change, that's a huge way to build relationship, because they're like, wow, they're listening to me. They're like, they like me. They're listening to me. They're like, my opinion really matters because they made that change. Right. Yeah. So I think that's one of the most important things. The communication part.
No, I like that, because far too often I hear people tell me about bad experiences they've had with a particular company or product, and no one ever reached out to say, how did it work out with them? Like, how do they like what they sent them? I know Amazon has that constant, they send you, oh, can you give us a review? What do you think? But most companies often don't. So people just stew and tell their friends how miserable they are, or how unhappy they are with something. Let me tell you, if someone's unhappy about something, they're going to tell a lot of people. So when you put out that feedback, and then when you actually can write back or say, okay, we're going to listen to your feedback and do something about it, it's like, whoa, I'm going to come back to these people. I'm a real person. It's kind of like when you used to be in the store and you talked to someone behind the counter and they actually helped you. Those days.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, Rogelio, this has been awesome. I don't want people to leave without them finding out how they can work with you guys, find out more about you. How can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. They can go to gorizen.com. That's GORIZEN.com. They can look up my name, Rogelio Rodriguez, on LinkedIn. I always answer. I may not get to it immediately, but I always answer. So, awesome. I'm happy to connect. And I'll if you in the show notes, you can use my email too. It's rod@gorizen.com. So happy to.
Well, thank you.
Messages from the
That's
audience.
Awesome. And not only that, we have in the lower third right beneath us here, right when you were giving the information, I will put it down there. So if they don't get to a pen real quick, they can always go back in this video and write it down. But everyone go to GoRizen, RIZEN.com if anyone's listening via audio. And thank you, Rogelio, for coming to Savvy Broadcasting today.
Thank you so much, Christina. This is great.
Gotcha.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode. To listen to more savvy episodes and savvy biz tips, go to www.lifeunscriptedradio.com. To find out about our paid sponsorship opportunities or how to become a guest, email Christina at lifeunscriptedradio.com.